Welcome. This is Atem reporting for Primeur Magazine. Today we welcome in our studio Mark Parsons, who's the director of the Edinburgh Parallel Computing Centre. So welcome, Mark.
Hello, nice to see you.
Okay, recently I saw an announcement about the EIDF that you had together with HPE. But before we go into the details of that, can you tell a little bit about what the Edinburgh International Data Facility is?
Yes, so the EIDF, the Edinburgh International Data Facility, is a new investment funded by the Scottish and UK governments, and it's actually come about over the last 3 years. UK government has funding called City Deal funding, and it's about investing in a city region. Edinburgh's in this Edinburgh and South East Scotland city region, and the International Data Facility that we're going to build is designed to increase the use of data analytics, data science, and in particular data-driven innovation across the whole region over the next 10 to 15 years.
And what's the current status of the facility?
So the whole program is a very, very large program. We're talking well in excess of £1 billion. The facility itself, we've been building over the last 2 years. So we've created a new computer room, which is going to open in September. And the recent announcement with HPE was a very important step in the process. So we've, over the last year, been running a large public procurement for the IT provider that's going to provide us with all of the IT equipment, initially over the first 5 years, but if it goes well, it's a contract that can be extended for up to 10 years. And it's worth £100 million in total. A key thing about this is that it's not just going to spend, I'm not going to spend £100 million at the start of the process. It's to fund continuous investment in the infrastructure over a 10 to 15 year period.
And so the facility is starting somewhere in fall this year, is that correct?
Yeah, in fact, we've already built parts of the infrastructure as we've been developing how we want it to come together. It's a large private cloud designed from the outset to support data science projects, data analytics projects, AI projects, and IoT. And we've designed it so that although it's a private cloud, it can interoperate with all the major cloud providers.
Mm-hmm. Can you give some examples of the usage that is made of that, or the intended usage?
So the idea is to use data-driven innovation to just transform our city region. And we realized that Edinburgh is somewhere that needs to invest in its economy. And a key way of doing that is to use the data science revolution to help us do that over the next decade. And a key part of that is training people. So one of the things we're going to do is in a city of about 600,000 people, we're going to train 100,000 of those people over the next 10 years in different aspects of data science and data-driven innovation, so that if your boss walks into your office and says to you, what is data science? You'll be able to tell your boss that and think about how you can apply it either in your business, in your government department, in your school or your university.
That sounds like a lot of people that will get trained then, at least in Edinburgh. What's the international component of it?
So Edinburgh is a very international city, and we realized early on that there are a number of other cities around the world that are taking forward similar plans. And our idea is to work with them. Particularly, we've been talking to the city of Copenhagen. We've also been talking to the city of Chicago in the US. I think the other use of the word obviously is international. We want Edinburgh to still be seen as an outward-facing city, welcoming people over the next decade and more.
What is the time plan for the whole project?
So the initial infrastructure that we're putting in place at the moment will be in place over the next 6 months. with a full service available in Q2 2021. But as I said, we've taken a building block approach to the infrastructure we're putting in place. So as people use bits of the infrastructure, the more bits, the bits that they use the most, we'll buy more of. So we're not trying to second guess people at the start. So I have funding for a decade from now, with the expectation that if all goes well, it will run for considerably longer than that. This is a really important investment for the city region of Edinburgh.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at the size of the systems, so what are we thinking about? What's the current ideas?
So the initial big investment we've made is a big 20 petabyte Lustre data store. That's been coupled with another 20 petabytes of block storage and storage that we can configure ourselves. Plus an initial set of about 50 large VM servers, etc., etc. So we're starting off quite small to meet the needs of the projects we have, but I think certainly in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll be dealing with between 50 and 100 petabytes of data storage, all properly backed up, all fully set up with disaster recovery, etc. So it's a big undertaking.
So can you tell a little bit more about the deal that you had with HPE?
Yes, so it was a competitive procurement. We've got a number of excellent bids, I have to say, from a number of suppliers, but HPE won it. We've had a strong relationship with HPE over the years. Obviously, they're providing the next national supercomputer, which is being installed at the moment. And we already own a number of pieces of equipment, for example, an HPE 8600. But this is really us branching out into a different area of HPE's business, which is the data side of their business. And we've been working very closely with a number of their technical teams to think about how you use the technology that's available today in order to build a large private cloud. And that means we're looking at new technologies they're offering, for example, this Esmeralda platform that they have, which helps us to manage containerized environments in a large private cloud. And at the moment, it's very exciting because we're just experimenting with lots of different ideas with them as we complete the first part of our design. Okay,
and you mentioned very shortly the Archer, so that's a completely different system, of course. That's the new national supercomputer in the UK. So everything is going fine with that, I assume? It's just being installed?
So there have been delays, largely related to COVID-19. But I'm very happy to say we received the first 4 cabinets of Archer 2 in July. They've been installed, and over the next few months we'll install the remainder of the cabinets. So looking forward to having a new national supercomputer in the UK.
Okay. So thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you, Adam.
For Premier Magazine, this was Ad Emmen reporting.